Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another COVID-19 Ed podcast episode. This is Victoria Wolders, your host. I am a mom of two amazing kids. I am also a grade 4 teacher in Langley, British Columbia, Canada, and I'm so excited that you've joined us today. If you'd like to connect with me, or maybe you have some ideas about another lesson or episode, please reach out to me at mykidslocker.com. I am also on so many social media platforms too. Well, a little bit of background about these episodes. First of all, we all know that COVID-19 right now is throughout the world, and many children are in their homes and unable to go into classrooms. This is an opportunity for parents and for schools, as well as for educators across the globe, to allow children to listen to these episodes so that we can have less screens. The kids can listen, create, and innovate. As most of us are going online, this is an awesome opportunity for us to be able to allow our children to listen to podcast episodes. So these are a series of podcast episodes all the way till July 1st to allow your students and your kids to be able to listen and create. With that being said, these stories are all based off my Empathy Tales podcast. The stories were originally made for my kids, Sarah, who's 13, and James, who is 11. And what's very cool is it's about a magical world called the Oak and Eagle Kingdom. There's the water troll king underneath the land, and then there's magical, mystical beings on the land, and they are like princes and kings and queens and wizards and trolls. And so you'll get to learn a little bit about this magical world. And all of these stories are based on perspective taking about love, caring, and kindness, and about being a better human being. All of these lessons include a piece that is part 1, listen, part 2, create, and part 3, innovate. So I hope that you really enjoy this episode and continue to listen and subscribe. We'd love for you to create with your kids and possibly use the hashtag MyKidsLocker and hashtag COVID-19Ed. It would be lovely to see all your creations and connect with you. Thank you so much. And now on to the lesson called The Painted Tree. And this lesson is about magical paints and 3 siblings that are part of a mysterious circumstance. And when trouble comes knocking, the siblings must create a plan that can save their family from losing their home. I hope that you enjoy this lesson.
To part 1. Are you comfy? Are you cozy? Well, get ready to listen.
We have an exciting story for you today. As always, I always do an introduction. So this story is called The Painted Tree, and it was told on June 13th, 2018. And our quote for today is, learn character from trees, values from roots, and change from leaves. And that was from Tasneem Hamid. So this story actually brings me back to my childhood. I used to go to summer camp, and I used to go to Keats Camp, which was, and it's actually on Keats Island, which is off the coast of British Columbia, and you had to take a boat there, and they had a lot of beautiful arbutus trees. Arbutus trees are just absolutely gorgeous. I actually even went to an elementary school that was very close to, it's called Arbutus Village, and there's actually a number of arbutus trees there too. But my specific summer camp experience was seeing a lot of these arbutus trees. Now, arbutus trees, they don't necessarily always grow straight up. Their arms kind of reached out, but what's really special is that some of the kids at summer camp would actually intentionally peel off the bark. The bark itself is brown, but when you peel it back, you'll see these like greens and purples and all these really beautiful colors. And it was always such a neat tree because it never really grew straight. And I kind of sometimes wonder, like, if arbutus trees are kind of telling us something about our lives, that life isn't meant to be straight, and it's going to be crooked sometimes, but in that it's so beautiful. And so this story is about a family, and there's a boy who finds some magical paints and canvases, and whatever he paints actually comes to life. And there's a little bit of conflict in the story, so you get to find out about that. But I think one thing that I love for you to think about while you're listening to this story is, if you ever had a blank canvas and magical paints, what would you paint? And it would just appear. What magical things would you create? I mean, some people might create money. Some people might, I don't know, maybe draw a loved one, maybe. Maybe somebody might draw a big house. I don't know. Brand new car, maybe. But this story draws upon the idea of, if you could draw anything, what would you draw? And would you draw something that would only help yourself, or would it help others? Something to think about. So I think that this story has some deep meaning to it, and I hope that while you're listening to it, you can think about maybe what you would do with these paints and canvases. And I encourage you to walk along with the characters and see what these characters do, because the point of this story is truly to show kindness, and when we are given gifts, to be able to use those in a shared experience and to help other people. So with that being said, I think we're ready to start our story called The Painted Tree. And I hope you are comfortable. And now I'll begin.
Hi everyone, welcome back to part 2 today. We are going to create something amazing, and let's get crafty. Bye.
So we are now on to create, and today's story is The Painted Tree. And I shared a little bit about the intro. You got to listen a little bit in part 1 about the meaning of the story. And the focus of the story is that there are magical paints and 3 siblings that are part of this mysterious fairy tale. So today we are going to focus on layout. So your opportunity today is to be able to design and build something amazing. So in the story, there will be discussion about the 3 siblings and their home. So why don't you think about building their home? Perhaps you actually might want to even draw a picture of the painting that will be talked about in the story. And then there's also, we have a neighbor's home as well. So you might want to paint the neighbor's home or draw the neighbor's home. So today you get to do some amazing things with building and constructing. So feel free to construct and build with any materials you want, and then you can color them. And I hope that you have a fun time today in part 2 for the create. So without further ado, here is the story.
The Painted Tree. Story told on June 13th, 2018. Learn character from trees, values from roots, and change from leaves. Tasneem Hamid. Once upon a time, a long time ago, there lived a family. In this family, there was a sister and 2 brothers. The brother was the eldest. He was strong and courageous and brave. The sister was patient, kind, and gentle. The youngest brother loved paint. One bright summer's day in the kingdom of the Oak and Eagle, the youngest found magical blank canvases, paintbrushes, and paints by the river. He decided to start painting because he knew there was something very special with this canvas and paints. He began to notice that when he painted the environment around him, he started to change. For example, he painted a starry night with the moon full and bright. He noticed the following night the exact work would be seen in the sky. The youngest brother started to find more canvases by the river. His brother and sister started to notice there was so many wonderful pieces of art that their youngest brother was making. They were amazed. One day, there was a knock at the door, and it was the mayor. He lived on the next property to them. The mayor of their village told them, "There is a large oak tree, maple tree, and arbutus tree bordering my property and your property. They are beautiful." The youngest brother thought of the large oak tree and how his eldest brother loved this oak tree. He would climb it and care for it. He also thought of his sister and how she cared for the maple tree and the beauty of its elegance. The autumn leaves of this maple was as red and brilliant as his sister's hair. The third tree was his, and that arbutus tree, although not as majestic as the other two, was wonderfully his. "I'm sorry, but we are removing your trees." "No, you can't," exclaimed the sister. "Yes, we are putting a road through the edge of your property and my property. This land does not belong to you, but to our village. These trees have been part of our family for a long time, and our children love the comfort they bring," the mother announced. "They are part of our heirloom for our children." The mayor apologized for the inconvenience and replied, "I will be back in 1 month to remove them." Then he left abruptly. Shortly afterwards, the eldest brother turned to the youngest and said, "Bring your canvas and your paintbrushes. Draw a picture of 3 beautiful trees close to our home." So that night, the youngest did what the eldest requested. He took one of the blank canvases and he drew the 3 trees on the canvas. He drew a picture of the oak tree. In it, he drew eagles that represented his brother's strength and leadership. He drew a picture of his sister's maple tree. Its arms reached to her bedroom window so she could see the beautiful maple tree every morning when the sun was rising and see the wondrous arms of her tree, as well as the red leaves that would glow like the warmth of the fire in the autumn. The third was the arbutus tree. He put it close to the stream to honor the person who gifted him with such beautiful canvases and paints. The one thing he added, though, was many different colors on the bark. There was emerald, rose, maroon, amber, and different shades of those colors. The next morning, the mayor came back, and to his surprise, he saw the 3 trees had been moved. They were no longer at the edge of the property, but in different areas of their property. The mayor inquired about how this happened. The youngest brother, being naive, easily shared about his beautiful paints and canvases that were found by the stream. The mayor thought to himself, "Wow, what I could do with these beautiful paints and canvases. I will steal them and make money, so I need not work anymore." So that night, the mayor came back to the family's house and snuck through a window. He took the blank canvases, the paintbrushes, and paints and traveled into the black of night back to his home. The next morning, the family woke up to find that their blank canvases and all the paints had been stolen. They came to realize that the mayor may have taken their magical paints and canvases. They found bags to bring back the paints and canvases. The 3 siblings decided to walk to the mayor's house to confront him. By the time they had walked to the mayor's house, they realized he had a bigger garden, more horses and stalls, bigger house, and he now had more maidservants. They were in awe at the grandiose of his property and home. They knocked on the door, and the mayor answered the door. The family pleaded for the materials back. The mayor said, "These are mine now. They were found by the stream, and the stream is part of our village. They will never be yours. You don't know whose these are, but they are mine now. I have gained so much wealth The family noticed the canvases and the paints in the corner of the room. The two brothers and sister quickly bolted to the materials. The eldest grabbed the blank canvases, left untouched. The sister grabbed the paints, and the youngest grabbed the paintbrush, which was the most important of all. As the youngest grabbed the paintbrush, the canvas, and the paints, he ran to the room and locked himself in. At that point, he drew a picture of the mayor in his arbutus tree. Then everything calmed down after he finished the drawing. He opened the door, and the mayor had now disappeared. They slowly walked back to their house, or their home, and there, at the top of their arbutus tree, was the mayor. The mayor pleaded and said, "Please let me down. I am sorry for taking your paintbrushes, paints, and canvases. You can have them back. We will forgive you for stealing our materials. However, as you come down from the tree, wherever your hands touch, this will be a place where the tree will peel to show its beautiful colors underneath. This will be a testimony to all who visit our tree of our forgiveness we have given you." Then the youngest brought out his paints, paintbrush, and a blank canvas and began to draw the mayor back in his simple home. The mayor was remorseful. The family had kindness and forgiveness to the mayor and were able to build a friendship with the mayor. In the years to come, they were able to paint a road that did not hurt anyone's property. Together, they had banquets for the poor and gave gifts to those who would not have received them unless they were painted into their lives by this kind young brother. The youngest began to add more colors to the arbutus tree as a symbol of the beauty of these amazing colors. When others who were given gifts because of his paints asked, "What can we do for you?" he would respond, "Color a strip of color on my arbutus tree, so when it grows, it will have your color on it to remind everyone of the kindness this canvas has given to you." To this day, this is a reason why the arbutus tree has so many wonderful, beautiful colors ingrained in the wood. It is because of the kindness of giving and the colors of connection and relationship that make this tree one of the most beautiful trees on earth. The end.
Hi, everyone. It's time to innovate, part 3. Woo.
Well, we're back with part 3. So this is the Innovate piece, which means that you get to be challenged in some way to create something extraordinarily, extended from your original creation. So here we go. So what would be great is, why don't we focus on actually building the arbutus tree? So why don't you try to take paper? If your mom and dad allow you to go online, you can look at arbutus trees. You can color the paper. Maybe you can actually set it up possibly on a piece of cardboard box with your other creation that you created earlier on in the episode. But why don't you create it? And if you want to, it'd be lovely for you to learn a little bit about the arbutus tree. What do arbutus trees look like? Where are they located in the world? What ecosystem are they a part of? Are they close to rivers? Are they up on mountaintops? What type of soil do they need in order for them to thrive? So this is an extension piece that you can do to learn a little bit more about what we have been studying about. I hope that you enjoy this extension piece, and I would love to be able to see your creations on hashtag MyKidsLocker as well as hashtag COVID-19Ed. So I look forward to seeing your creations. Well, this is the end of our episode. I'm so excited that you've joined us today, and I really hope that you'll be able to reach out to me at mykidslocker.com. Until next time, I hope that we have less screens, we listen, create, and innovate. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is Victoria Wolders signing off from another COVID-19 Ed podcast. Thank you.